Hey y'all, I'm at I-78. Happy Friday, happy Friday. Welcome. We are still waiting for Donald Trump. Right now, RFK is speaking, so we're going to take a look and see exactly what he has to say. But thank you for joining us. Definitely hit the like button on your way in and participate in the chat.
Cesar Chavez's other big issue was closing the U.S. border, because he understood, and I was at the border many times. The first time I went down between 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock, and I saw there's 27 gaps in the wall that were left by the Biden administration when they shut down construction the day they came into office. And all the material that we've already paid for is sitting right next to those gaps in the wall. They could easily rebuild them right now. President Harris says, there's nothing I could do. Yeah, there is. You could just finish the wall. And when I was down there at 2 o'clock in the morning, it looked like the start of the Boston Marathon. There were people, humanity pouring across, and the Border Patrol had their job had been repurposed from protecting our borders to escorting people to the Yuma airport and sending them to any destination in our country. It's the most insane thing I've ever seen. And it's crushing the social safety net in our country. And the reason Cesar Chavez wanted to close the border is he saw that all these illegal migrants who were coming across were destroying his capacity to negotiate for good working conditions and good wages for his American workers. And that was obvious at that time, not only to Cesar Chavez, but the entire Democratic Party. Today, because President Trump said we need to close the wall, that's the only thing that they hear. If Trump says it, it must be wrong. So now we're up for an open border. Don't you want a president who is going to reassert control of the U.S. government of our immigration policy? And, you know, my uncle Ted Kennedy, who was 50 years in the United States Senate, he wrote a law called Title IX. And that law, and he got Republicans and Democrats to support it, that law created equality in women's sports, because he said women ought to be allowed to compete, and they ought to have the same rights as men to compete. And that's something the Democratic Party believed in, but they don't believe in it anymore. Now they're against women's sports. And finally, the Democratic Party that I grew up with wanted to protect the most vulnerable people in our society. They wanted good health for our children. And today, the Democratic Party is on the side of the big ag, big pharma, and big food companies that are poisoning our children. We now have the highest chronic disease rate in the world. Diabetes, which was virtually unknown when I was a kid. An average pediatrician in my year, with my day, when I was a kid, when my uncle was president, would see one case of diabetes, juvenile diabetes, in his lifetime, 40 or 50-year career. Today, 1 out of every 3 children who walk through his office door is diabetic or pre-diabetic. And it's costing us more than our military budget. Just that kind of mitochondrial disorder. This is bankrupting. When my uncle was president, we spent 0 on chronic disease. Now we spend $4.3 trillion. And our children are so sick and so obese that 77% of them do not qualify for military service. Our fertility levels have dropped to the lowest in the world. Teens today have 50% of the sperm count, 50% of the testosterone as teens, American teens 2 generations ago. Little girls are now hitting puberty at 8 years old because of all the estrogen that is generated by the poisons and toxic foods. We have 1,000 ingredients in our foods that are illegal in Europe. And the same companies, Kellogg and all these companies, are making products in Europe, and they don't use those ingredients there. So they know how to do it, but they're poisoning Americans when they know how to not poison Canadians or Europeans or Mexicans. And the, the average girl in this country is now reaching puberty between 10 and 13 years old. That's 6 years younger than a couple generations ago, and it is the youngest of any nation in the world. We are destroying our children. And that was the major reason, his commitment, Donald Trump's commitment, to make America healthy again. Is the primary reason that I joined this campaign. And don't you think that we want a president in this country that is going to make our country healthy again? Thank you all very much, and God bless you, and get to the poll on November 5th here in Michigan. And don't vote for me, vote for Donald J. Trump. Thank you.
Why can't you see?
Robert F. Kennedy Jr., that might very well be the deciding factor in this election. Him teaming up with our very own President Donald J. Trump to make America healthy again. And you just heard, it's our youngest Americans that we really need to be concerned about. This is a really good opportunity to thank some of our sponsors as we're still waiting on the hope of our nation, President Donald J. Trump, to arrive. We know that he's been busy. We cut him slack when it comes to getting to the different places on time because we know how busy his schedule is going to be, how busy it has been. And I can tell you something, leading up to the election, the next 39 days are going to be very, very busy. And we're going to be here to capture every live, unedited moment for you on RSBN. I want to take a minute to talk about protecting our health. It falls right in line with what RFK was just talking about on the stage. Our health is our wealth. And everybody knows when you get sick, you start to really have your life put into perspective. Your health is everything. Wellness company, they want to help you stay prepared in the event of an unexpected health crisis or medication shortage. With the Contagion Emergency Kit, the Wellness Company offers peace of mind in a box that you can keep in your medicine cabinet, or you can take it out on the road with you if you're someone who travels. Just to name a few of the ingredients in the Contagion Emergency Kit, you're going to find azithromycin, also known as Z-Pak, used to treat sinus infection. Now, this is something that you usually have to go to a doctor to get, and you do have to fill out some paperwork, but you send it in, you talk with the doctor, and they take care of it. You don't have to go to urgent care. You don't have to go to the hospital. Sometimes people wait too long when they get sick. The Contagion Emergency Kit has everything that you need. So we're talking about azithromycin, also known as the Z-Pak, used to treat sinus infection. Tamiflu, another very important medicine and antiviral medication. It also comes with ivermectin, an antiparasitic agent. And it comes with a nebulizer, and it's very reasonably priced. Plus, you're going to get a discount if you use the code RSBN at checkout. It's backed by highly regarded cardiologist Dr. Peter McCullough. As winter approaches, birds will be migrating south, so we will be watching for an uptick in cases of H5N1, also known as avian bird flu. You can stay prepared, though, for whatever is to come with the Contagion Emergency Kit because it's designed to treat upper respiratory viral infections, including avian bird flu. Imagine this. No more frantic searches for a doctor when you need a doctor the most. No more emergency waiting rooms where you could risk getting sick, catching a different illness. And you know what? In times like these, it's just peace of mind for you. Having that contagion emergency kit is not just a luxury, it's a necessity. Find out about all the great products that the wellness company has to offer, or just hop online. If you know that this is something that you want, that you could use, visit makecaregreatagain.com, use the code RSBN, and you can save over $45 on the wellness company's contagion emergency kit. And that is a very generous promotional code. $45 goes a long way this day and age. I also want to thank another one of our great sponsors, Birch Gold. And Birch Gold still has those silver coins available to those who call and get gold. I want to tell you about, first of all, what they have to offer, and then how you can get your hands on that silver coin. You know the coin I'm talking about if you watch RSBN. That coin with President Trump defiantly raising his fist in the air. Fight, 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 after he nearly lost his life. This is a coin that will be worth something. It's going to appreciate in value more than likely down the road. Also, a great opportunity for a Christmas gift for the Trump fan in your life. But this is where it gets serious. I'm not sure if you know this. This is something that's probably going to make headlines more and more as we go into the next several weeks. There is nearly $1 trillion of infrastructure and pandemic funds yet to be spent. And you know, good old Biden, he's out there on the beach, shows up once in a while to make a speech, forgets whoever he's introducing, forgets the name of the most important people in the world. But you know what he's good at? Spending our money, our taxpayer dollars. And as the clock ticks down to November 5th, the Biden-Harris administration will likely push hard to spend a massive amount of money in their final few months. This, of course, would be a last-ditch effort, especially if they're able to find a way to utilize that money to influence key constituencies in this election. Because you've seen what they've done on TikTok. You've seen how they're going about getting more and more people to vote. They don't hold rallies. They don't go and meet with people like President Trump. They take the roundabout way. And that's why they're always begging for money on their campaign. If they're able to push this money out, it could lead to another inflation surge. Our friends, though, at Birch Gold, they want to assure you that there is hope and a surge in prices can be beat. A gold IRA from Birch Gold Group is the ultimate inflation hedge. For your hard-earned savings, protect your savings. To find out how you can protect your IRA or your 401k, you know, we've been watching the stock market reaching all-time highs over the last couple of weeks. It's an election year. That's to be expected. The question is, what's going to happen after the election? It's a really good time to start thinking about gold, because even if President Donald Trump wins, he's still inheriting a terrible economy from Biden and Harris. So thinking about gold right now is key. You can text the word Trump to 989898. And like we were talking about, when you make a purchase for a limited time, Birch Gold is giving away free Trump silver coins. These unique collectibles depict our president, our hero, raising his fist in the air after the attempt on his life in Butler, Pennsylvania, which President Trump will be returning to on October 5th, and RSBN will be there to cover it for you. You can protect your savings from Biden's spending spree. Get your free Trump silver coin by texting Trump to 989898 today. Again, that number, Trump to 989898. So, we are still waiting on President Trump. I know he's had a busy day. I do believe he met with President Zelensky. I have seen some pictures of that. I wouldn't want to say anything I couldn't confirm with certainty for you. I am all about facts, but it did look like he was very busy today. We know that he was meeting with religious leaders just yesterday. And there's something that I've noticed about President Trump ever since the first and second assassination attempt on his life. He has a boldness, a fearlessness that he takes with him wherever he goes. There have been ramped up threats against his life. We've heard about some threats coming from Iran, coming from different countries, but nothing is going to slow him down. And you know what? The godly are as bold as lions. And to me, I see a President Trump who is getting closer and closer to God. I think one of the beautiful things about going to a Trump rally, going to an event like this, it always starts with an invocation, a beautiful prayer, and the Pledge of Allegiance, and everybody stands up. Old Glory is symbolic of freedom. Freedom that many of us have come to enjoy, and some of the younger generations have taken for granted. Everything comes full circle, though, when you come to one of these events, and we're hoping that everything will come full circle for this country, that we will be able to stand with pride for the American flag once again at baseball games, football games, in schools. We need to bring the Pledge of Allegiance back into the classroom. Some states are talking about putting the 10 Commandments into classrooms. I don't see what harm can be done from putting the 10 Commandments in. These are all guiding Christian principles that are good. They're high moral values that many of us should try to attain in our day-to-day life just to be a decent human. So I don't have a problem with that. I know that some people do. Whatever the case may be, I think God needs to be back in the schools as well. And if Kamala wins, I just see the opposite of that trend taking place. Trump will be here soon, and I am excited about that. I know a lot of people are excited about it as well. Making America affordable again, the manufacturing sector, making it thrive once again is important to everybody in this room. I believe I see Mike Rogers. Mike, can you grab him for me? I'm going to grab Mike Rogers. Give me a brief second. Sorry, can I come right here? He is a very important Senate race ahead of him, and I think getting his word out right now, getting his name out is very important, but he's going on Fox, so, you know, we got to understand and make room for friends. I think that when it comes to your state, whatever state you live in, you still have to vote. You might think, oh, well, you know, I'm in California, so my vote's not going to count. It does count. Every single vote counts. There are races in California. Representative John Duarte, for example, it's going to be a very tight race for him. He represents a district in California that is very heavily farmed. Agriculture is important. Remember, every single vote counts. And if you can get out in California and vote red all the way down the ticket, you're helping people out, not just in your own state, but in the country, because our Congress members, they vote on the decisions that change our lives. So there are a lot of very close races in every single state that require your vote. It's something to just keep in mind. It's not just a presidential election that we're having. A third of the Senate is up for grabs. Now, President Trump is going to be here hopefully soon, and we talked a little bit about how he is going to lower interest rates with his mass plan to improve the economy and make America affordable again. Well, we know last week, of course, close to the election, Jerome Powell, who hasn't really done much to help us out. And you know what? I've got to say this about Jerome Powell. Our Fed chair is only able to work with the numbers that are presented to him. Who knows where he's getting those numbers, if they're being skewed, whatever the case may be. The chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, I do believe that he tries to do a good job. And guess the numbers were good enough for him to finally lower interest rates by 0.5 point for the first time in 4 years, coincidentally right up against the most important election of our lifetime. Well, the word on the street is that interest rates are likely to fall by a full point. Now, that's the message that's being sent from the mainstream media before the year is over. Now, that's good news when you think about it, but it's coming down from the highest level in 23 years under the Biden-Harris ticket. And that's why it's so hard right now for new homeowners to get a house. Also, those of us who are paying a mortgage, that's why our mortgage rates are so high. If President Trump wins with his proven background and keen business sense, everything looks better. I think even the stock market is going to react. I think that the stock market has watched the polls. I think that it's all built into how the numbers are calculated, and the optimism around a Trump presidency has actually pushed the market up. If he does win, buying a home will be more affordable to everybody because his plan pretty much guarantees that interest rates will come down. And another reason why I trust President Donald Trump is because we know the mainstream media is against him. Because they are against him, they are going to hold him to his word at every single corner, something that they do not do for Democrats like Kamala Harris, but they will hold President Trump to his word. You know, we saw it happen when he was in office, and it will happen again. And that alone will drive him to do the right thing. Now, we're hoping that interest rates will significantly fall, possibly down to 1% to 2%. That would sure help a lot of us out, especially those with the dream of owning a home or getting out of the house they're in right now and moving somewhere else. Right now, if you want to rent just about anywhere in this country, it is incredibly expensive just to rent a house. Now, Kamala, as we talked about earlier, she wants to hand out $25,000 to first-time home buyers. She's doing this to sway young voters, which has been a major part of her campaign. She's going after the young voters, the Swifties. But you know what? The truth of the matter is, if President Donald Trump wins, everybody will benefit from lower interest rates. You can't just isolate one segment of a hurting economy and say, okay, well, we're going to help them. I mean, it makes sense because those are the ones who she's trying to get to vote. Could be a false alarm. It could be the man himself. I think at the very least, it looks like we have a little action from behind the curtain, and that could indicate that President Trump is, in fact, in the building. And the anticipation always builds leading up to his arrival, and then, of course, him taking the podium, and the crowd erupts. Every time he says something with passion, these are meaningful words. They have substance, as opposed to what we're getting from the left. What we're getting from the left, reckless government spending. It has actually become a hallmark of the Biden-Harris regime. And the continued high interest, like we were talking about just moments ago, it's going to likely negate any benefit of that $25,000 tax break for young voters. They would be better off voting for Trump and watching interest rates fall. That's also going to help out with credit card debt. So many Americans are in debt right now to credit card companies like Goldman Sachs, who I believe owns the Apple Card. They love Kamala Harris because they're getting rich right now with that high interest rate. There are so many things to look at. It just makes plain sense to vote for President Trump. He has a real plan to change our economy. This is something that might blow your mind. If you're in California, you know this, but if you're living outside of California, which is Kamala's home state, this is important. The average price, now this is according to Redfin, and they keep track of data, I trust their numbers. The average cost of a house in Kamala's home state of California is just under $800,000. Okay, so if you're a first-time home buyer and she kicks you that $25,000, that's not really even a drop in the bucket. We need interest rates to come down so people can afford a monthly mortgage, so they're not giving all their money to interest that doesn't really help anybody except for the banks that are loaning the money out. All right, there's some things happening behind me. Sounds like President Trump has arrived, and they're going to be setting up the podium for him. One thing I've noticed about covering these events is usually they'll have a gentleman or a lady come out before him, make sure everything is set to his height. And I think that he might be here soon because I can feel the electricity in the room. And they're actually saying something right now that echoes the sentiment of this entire country. We want Trump. We want affordable grocery prices at the very least, nonetheless a house. So in California, $793,000, just under $800,000 for the average home. In Idaho, $539,000 is the average price of a home. In Nevada, $479,000. And here in Michigan, this is a rather affordable state. This is a state where we can really celebrate the middle class. $270,000 here in Michigan, the average price of a home. But that's up by 4.8% just from a year ago. For anybody who's been in the housing market, you know how hard it is. Obviously, inventory is down as well, and that makes it even more difficult. But when you're talking about low inventory and high interest rates, it gets difficult. All right, our hero.
The next president of the United States, President Donald J. Trump.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. And a very special hello to Michigan. We're going to bring back your car industry. And it's great to be back in this beautiful state with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. Before we begin, I want to just repeat something that just came out over the wires. It's big stuff by the patriots of immigration and customs enforcement. You know what that is? That's ICE. These are tough guys. They're almost as tough as you. You guys, look at this guy. You guys. Not quite. No, these are tough people. They love our country, but you need them. But for the first time ever, we have specific numbers that were just released. And it's about the people that crossed the border illegally under Kamala Harris. That she's even running is frankly ridiculous, okay? That's not a president. That's not a president. She went to the border today because she wanted to see if she could. She's getting killed on the border. And she went to the border. This was a bad day because somebody just released the numbers that came out through ICE. According to this brand new data, never seen before, over 13,000 and 99 convicted murderers have crossed the border and are free to roam and kill in our country. These are convicted murderers. These are people that were in jail. And I've been talking about this for 3 years. When I heard they were opening up the border, 3.5 years, I said, if they open the border, because I know the people on the other side, and they're smart, savvy people, you know, they're at the top of their game. Our leaders are not at the top of their game at all. They never were, actually. But our leaders are not. These are smart people. And these are countries from all over the world, 13,000, more than 13,000. Convicted murderers have been let out of jail, and they're roaming our streets, their country all over. And every state is a border state. You know what that means, right? Every state, because they fly them in. Can you imagine? They fly them in. These people are, I'm starting to think they're stupid. They're just stupid. So that's one, as well, and other numbers came out along with it. Over 13,000 convicted murderers from jails, in jail. And I told you, they're releasing them from jails, and these fake people, these stupid people, will say they don't release them from jail. They do, Mike. They do. You know that. You better elect him your senator, I'll tell you. As well as and these are specific numbers. That's why when they rounded them out, I said, I don't want them rounded out. I want the exact number, as well as 25,272 illegals convicted of rape, sex offense, or sexual assault and in jail. These are people all in jail because they don't want them in jail. They're too expensive, and they don't want them in their countries. They're smarter than us. They give them to us. We're like a dumping ground. In total, 425,431 non-detained, meaning they're no longer in detention, meaning prison, non-citizens, convicted criminals from all over the world are right now at large in the United States of America, with another 222,141 illegals with pending criminal charges, and these are serious criminal charges for murder, for drugs being sold all over the world where many people have been killed, because those are the ones they put in jail. We don't do that over here. That we give them a fine. You know, every drug dealer kills at least 500 people. Each drug dealer, him or her, kills 500 people. We do nothing about it. We fine them. That's over 647,572 migrant criminals are in our country. It's a killing machine. It's a killing machine, and they're killing people all over our country. And Kamala said, remember, she said, oh, well, those people really don't kill like our criminals. No, no. These people make our criminals look like nice people. And I've been saying this from the beginning of the Harris-Biden disaster. It's no longer an administration, because what they've done to our country with this is inexcusable. I guess some egghead maybe said, oh, it's wonderful to release people, and it sounds so nice. We're releasing migrants into our country. But these are killers. These are people at the highest level of killing that cut your throat, and they won't even think about it the next morning. They won't even think about it. And these people are all over the place, and they're killing people. I could go through the stories, and I won't. But all over, sometimes I do. They come up, they grab young girls, and they slice them up right in front of their parents. Nobody's who's allowed to do this, and nobody who's allowed this to happen to our country is fit to be the president of the United States. I mean that, too. I mean it. Anybody that's stupid. I've been saying this now for almost 4 years, because we built hundreds of miles of border wall. We had the best record at the border of any president of anybody, at least in recorded history. Tom Homan would get up. Brandon Judd gets up. They all get up and they say there's never been a president like Trump. But Tom Homan said it today. He said in his lifetime, we had the best border that we've ever had under Trump, and now we have the worst border that any country has ever had. But it's bad timing for Kamala. Nobody knows her as Harris. You ever use the name Harris? Say Harris. Nobody knows who the hell I'm talking about when I say Harris. It's true. You say Harris, they don't know who the hell I'm talking about. So I won't bother with the Harris. It's a nice name. I know a couple of people named Harris. They said, but with her, you say Harris. They say, who is that? So we say Kamala. But it's bad time. She's incompetent. Have you seen her? She goes into an interview with Oprah, and she can't answer any questions. She can't answer any questions. This is bad timing for Kamala to show up today at the border. She didn't go there for 4 years. Now today she shows up, and these numbers got released. Somebody doesn't like her, I think. And the fake news. So I don't know, maybe she's already gone. I doubt it, but she's went to the border today. She wants to see if she could salvage, make up some lies, like she said about the border bill that Trump stopped. Let me tell you, number one, I didn't stop it. The senator stopped it. But that's the worst bill ever drawn. It's a waste of paper, and she doesn't need a bill. All she has to do is fly back to Washington and get this president that we have, if he's still president. I don't even know who the hell is president. Is he president? This is not exactly President Xi. He runs his country a little differently, although they do go after their political opponents pretty violently. I will say that. But they don't go after the murderers, the drug dealers. Get this guy to sign a little dot. You sign right over the little dots, and you sign your name, Joe Biden, and you say on it to Border Patrol, close the border, and they close the border. That's what I did. Our border is open. Our border is open. Nobody can believe it. And I've been saying that the people coming in, you know, I know these leaders so street smart, and I would have been worse than them, because actually Venezuela still has some people in their jails. I would have had everybody out into the United States. They probably ran out of buses and planes. But the rest of them are coming, don't worry about it. But all over the world, not just in South America, all over the world, they're coming from the Congo and Africa. A lot of people coming from the Congo and Africa. And these are serious criminals coming out of jails, mostly from jails. A lot of gang members, they take their gangs off the street. Like in Caracas, Venezuela, the criminals have all been brought to the United States. Their crime rate is down in Caracas. In fact, I suggest, if I lose, I'll tell you what, it's possible, because they cheat. That's the only way we're going to lose, because they cheat. They cheat like hell. If we lose, the next time we're going to have the same group of people in Caracas, Venezuela, because it's much safer than any place in our country if she wins. Much safer. So let's go to Caracas. It was a very unsafe place. Now because in Venezuela, their crime is down 72%, because they've taken their criminals, their gang members, their drug dealers, and they've brought them into the United States of America. And they're also releasing almost all of their prisoners. Soon the almost will be gone. Their prisons will be empty. Their mental institutions and insane asylums will be empty. They're dumping them in our country, and I never had proof. And those fake news reporters back there, they say, Trump, what would he know about that? What would he know? You know why? It's common sense. We're the party of common sense, by the way, just so you know. Common sense. So these numbers just came out. Nobody's ever seen these numbers for years. Nobody's ever seen them. And probably some patriot in ICE or somebody just did something. They just said the country's going bad. You can't have a country like that. We have, think of it, murderers, convicted murderers in prison for life. Many get the electric chair, or they get whatever their form of death penalty. These are convicted people for life, are now in our country. And I can finally look at them and see I say, I told you so to the fake news. These are hard, tough, vicious criminals that are free to roam in our country. And now, for the first time, I can say it. And, I knew it before when you have open borders, but they're dumping everybody in here. I knew it before, but these numbers are actually worse than I ever thought. They should have been released far earlier so that we could have done something about it. I wish we had them 3 years ago, but we didn't. And now we have a problem, and you can't have her as your president. She doesn't know what the hell she's doing. She should resign in disgrace for what she's done to our country, not run for president. She was the border czar. She was the border czar. She was in charge. I don't even care about him. What the hell? No, he put her in charge, though. She was the border czar. Now she claims she wasn't the border czar, but she was in charge of the border. Call her what you want. 4 years ago, Kamala Harris inherited the most secure border in U.S. history. And as border czar, she then set the all-time record for illegal immigration into our country every single year. And many of these people were stone cold criminals and murderers. She willfully and deliberately erased her own nation's borders, a crime so wicked as to defy description. As former ICE director and a great man, Tom Homan. Anybody know Tom Homan? Tom Homan, I say, is central casting for doing what he does better than anybody. Brandon Judd, Kuwait. Oh, we have great people. These Border Patrol guys, I got to know them all. They're great. They want to do their job. They could sit back and let it happen. They go crazy. They see what's happening to our country, and they're not allowed to do the job. But as Tom Homan just said, just put it out, I've worked with 6 presidents. I know all about police work, and I know all about policies work. I know what policies don't work. President Trump was a game changer, and we saved thousands of lives by securing the southern border. Biden and Harris took the most secure border in my lifetime. This is from Tom Homan. And unsecured it on purpose. So he unsecured the border. They did. I don't know why. They want the votes. They're dumb, or they want to destroy the country. That could be the only 3 things. They're dumb. They want to just have people destroy our country, or they want the votes. They're trying to sign these people up to vote. That's the all-time insult. They are working full-time to sign these people, many of them murderers, to vote so they can cheat on the election, because that's what they do. And they vote against bills. Any bill that wants to secure the vote, the Democrats in Congress fight like hell so they can't get passed. Who would want a bill that says bad things happen with the vote? You want to secure your vote, whether you're a Democrat. Interesting, a lot of Democrats, not the politicians, want to have that. And they don't want to have sanctuary cities, by the way. They don't want it. Only the politicians want it for certain reasons. President Trump, Tom Homan said, was the greatest president in my lifetime. Thank you, Tom. This country was never better off than when he was president. He was unprecedented in his success on the border, and it saved many lives. He was an out-of-the-box thinker, and he got the job done like nobody else could do the job. So that's from Tom Homan. Thank you. I might as well read it. I might as well tell you, because they'll never tell you that. They'll never tell you that, right? They'll never tell you that, Mike. By contrast, Kamala Harris betrayed her oath. She let our cities fail to violent gangs. She let our American sons and daughters be raped and murdered at the hands of vicious monsters. She let American communities be conquered. They're conquering your communities. You go out to Aurora in Colorado, where they're taking over with AK-47s, real estate. They're in the real estate development business, just like me, except I never got to use guns to do it. They're taking over real estate. And Kamala turned cherished small towns into blighted refugee camps. And you take a look at what's happening in Springfield, Ohio, and the mayor is a nice man. In fact, I think he's an independent or a Republican. And he doesn't know what to do, and he doesn't know what to say. He wants to be nice. 32,000 people. You have 50,000 residents. Beautiful place, beautiful, nice town, no crime, no nothing. They now have 32,000 people dumped into the town, and he's trying to say, we're working very hard to make it comfortable for them. No, those people have to be taken out and brought back to the country from where they came. I'm sorry. The mayor said, we're looking for interpreters. It's so hard to find interpreters because nobody speaks English, right? So we're looking for interpreters. No, you're looking for people that will remove them and bring them back safely to their country. It's not fair. It's not sustainable by any country. What's happening to us in the United States, millions and millions of people, 21 million plus, have been dumped into the United States, and many of them are murderers. Many of them are horrible criminals. What Kamala Harris has done is unforgivable. It's a crime, what she did. It's got to be criminal. There's no greater act of disloyalty than to extinguish the sovereignty of your own nation, and that's what she's done. She's ruined our nation. She's ruined our nation. And, you know, I've always talked about this, and I've talked about it strongly, but I'm just realizing as I'm talking right now, and not even going off a teleprompter, because the teleprompter is not tough enough. I'm saying, and by the way, isn't it nice to have a president that doesn't need a teleprompter? But I've never had, thank you. Boy, what a group of people we have. It's a joke. We're laughed at all over the world for our leadership. But I just got this information, so I've never really spoken about this because this is the first time where we have these numbers with 13,000 convicted, jailed murderers, tougher than any of our criminals. We have only one good thing about this, is they make our criminals look like very nice people. These are hardened, horrible criminals, and we have to get them the hell out of our country because they're ruining the fabric of our country. Kamala is directly responsible for the tens of thousands of crimes committed by illegal migrants that she set free into our country. They didn't ask for a name. They didn't ask for a registration number. And many of them don't even have names or registration numbers. They just pour into our country. She has no idea where they're from parts unknown. She's responsible for every bloody crime scene, every funeral, every orphan child. And the great Mark Levin called me a little while ago and said, ask them, because he couldn't believe the numbers either. He said, ask them to ask Kamala, has she ever attended one funeral of the thousands and thousands of people that they've already killed? So I ask you that question. I give that to the fake news so that they can ask that question, because she's right now at the border giving a press conference. She doesn't give a press conference. She doesn't take questions. She'll make a little statement and then run away. She delivered these horrors. She unleashed these atrocities, and blood is on her hands at a level that probably nobody's ever seen in this country before. But on November 5th, Kamala Harris will be held accountable for these crimes. She will be sent back to California. And we will close the border. We will stop the invasion. We will begin the largest deportation operation in American history. And we have no choice but to that. Have no choice. We have no choice. Our country is our country's in trouble. Like, it's a mess. It's a mess, including the inflation that was caused by them by energy and by their spending, but the inflation caused by them by energy. Remember when energy went way down, the production after by the way, I got more votes than any sitting president in history. I was told if I got the same number of votes as the first time, 63 million, you can't lose, sir. We got many millions of votes more than that. Nobody's ever gotten more votes, sitting president. And they beat us by a whisker. It's the only thing they're good at. They're good at cheating in elections. They're good at nothing else, believe me. They're certainly not good at policy. By the way, she changed every policy. She had 15 policies that she changed. She was against fracking. She was against everything. And she changed everything because you couldn't get elected, right? And she was the last one. She was the last one online. You know, whether you like Biden or not, he got 14 million votes and he won the primaries. And then they came to him, Nancy Pelosi, crazy Nancy. She came to him. She's nuts. By the way, did you see yesterday, 2 days ago? So I'm not much into this stuff, but Visa crashed because the government went after. The government filed a big suit against Visa. Nancy and her husband sold their stock the day before it was announced. Nancy Pelosi. So why don't we get some AG somewhere like in a Republican territory? And why don't we get them to do a little investigation? Sold the Visa stock. Are you listening? They're probably turning off the cameras now. They don't want to report. The day before, the government announced a major investigation, the biggest there is, can't get worse, into Visa. They sold it the day before. It's amazing, isn't it, huh? I'm proud to say I think I'm the only politician that's lost. I've lost billions on. I don't give a damn. I knew I'd lose a lot. I didn't know I was going to lose that much. I wanted to lose. I could have made a fortune. I could have been like Hunter, sell paintings for $500,000. I would have gotten much more. Say, you got to give me $5 million for that painting. I haven't painted before, but I have a lot of natural talent. I'm proud to say that, I mean, I'm not the only one, but I guess I figured I'd lose a lot, but I didn't know I was going to lose that much, but it doesn't matter to me because this is much bigger. This is a much bigger calling. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. I don't care. Before going further, I want to send our love and support to all of the people in Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Alabama, and all of the other states who have been really hit hard by that very large hurricane. That was that big one, a very large hurricane this week. We're with you all the way, and if we were there, we'd be helping you, and you'll be okay. 39 days from now, we're going to win Michigan. We're going to defeat Comrade Kamala Harris, who's a Marxist communist. And quite simply, we are going to make America great again. And make America great. So I didn't want to go off on a tangent, but I did want to bring up a little thing called crime. But we're really here today to talk about bringing jobs and manufacturing back to the great state of Michigan and really to our country, our whole country. And I want to thank, just met him, a great gentleman. He came here, he said, because of me in 2017. From the Netherlands, great guy, great successful businessman. Bodewijn Hauser, thank you very much. He's a big guy too, and his beautiful wife. Stand up, please, please stand up. Good looking couple. Good looking. Good man, right? Yes? They're all saying, they better say yes. They won't be here tomorrow if they don't. No, he's great. He's done a great job. He actually said he came here because of me. He came to the country because of me, opened this, and it was very successful. And I imagine still is, but he said it's a big difference now between the first days during the Trump administration for 4 years, 3 years that you were open during the Trump administration. Now he says the interest rates are way up and inflation has been very devastating, which it is for everybody, but we'll make it even more successful than the first 3 or 4 years you had, okay? Or more successful. And for generations, this state was the beating heart of American industry, and you gave the world General Motors, Ford, Chrysler, Dow Chemical, General Dynamics, and other giants of American industry and might, and then you see what's happened to so many of them because of stupid politicians largely, and stupid people that ran the companies into the ground. They didn't know what the hell they were doing. It doesn't take much. It only takes one bad executive at the top. But then foolish and corrupt politicians forced Michigan workers to watch as the jobs in the factories were leached from Grand Rapids and Detroit and Lansing and Flint and sent to foreign lands way far away, not only China in particular, but all over. But with your vote, we're going to reclaim America's manufacturing power. And basically, we're going to do what they do. We have to get the senators to agree. I think we have no problem with that, right? We're going to get the senators to allow us to do it. We're actually allowed to do it as president. We want to make it permanent. We're going to bring jobs, wealth, and pride back to Grand Rapids, back to Detroit, back to Milwaukee, and all throughout the Midwest. We're going to bring it back. And to our incredible auto workers here in Michigan, I'm pinpointing you for greatness. I'm pinpointing you because the industry has been decimated. And right now, as we speak, they're building big plants. They wouldn't do it when I was president. They're building big, giant auto plants in Mexico, owned and financed by China. And they think they're going to come out and they're going to build cars and they're going to sell them into our country and they're going to destroy Michigan and all these other places. Not going to happen because we'll put 100 to 200% tariff on every car coming across the Mexican border. And we'll tell them and we're going to be strong. The only way they'll get rid of that tariff is if you build the plant in the United States, not if you build it in Mexico. Which is what China and others do. If Elon wants to sell a car, by the way, Elon Musk gave his total endorsement. Elon, he gave me the greatest, beautiful, most beautiful. He said, we're not going to have a country left if Trump doesn't get it. And you know what I'm going to let Elon do? Unless you people disagree, I'm going to get Elon, and he's great at this. He's going to be our cost cutter. I think he can save trillions, right? He wants to do it so badly. I don't think I can get him full time because he's a little bit busy sending rockets up and all the things he does. But he's so much into that. He said the waste in this country is crazy, and we're going to get Elon Musk to be our cost cutter. He's going to do it for zero. He doesn't want anything, but he wants to see this country be great, and he'll do it. And having his endorsement is a great endorsement. We have some really great endorsements, I will tell you that, but we'll get him involved and mostly on that side of it. And it's going to be incredible what he'll be able to do without hurting anybody. Just waste. It's waste, fraud, and abuse. Do you ever hear the expression waste, fraud, and abuse? You get rid of that, everybody lives much better. We have a country that's really strong again. If I'm not elected, you will have no auto industry. Your industry is being taken from you like candy from a baby. I see it happening with the all electric. And I'll tell you, electric cars are wonderful, but not for everybody. I will end the mandate on day one for all electric cars. And there's a great place, and they have a place. Like Tesla and others, they're fantastic, but they have a place, but not for everybody. They don't go far. They cost more. And they're made in China mostly because that's where they have the materials. We have something that's even better. We have a thing called liquid gold under our feet, and we're going to use our liquid gold in the form of gasoline for our cars. Oil and gas. We have liquid gold. We have more liquid gold than any country anywhere in the world. We have more liquid gold, not even close. We have more than Russia. We have more than Saudi Arabia. We have more than anybody. You know, I approved something, Anwar. I got it done. Ronald Reagan couldn't get it done. I love Ronald Reagan, but he couldn't get it done. He tried so hard. It's in Alaska. It's one of the biggest finds maybe ever, maybe as big as Saudi Arabia. Nobody really knows, but it's in that category. One of the biggest in the world. I got it done. I worked my ass off and I got it done. And Biden came in. He didn't know what the hell he was signing anyway. And he terminated it. Can you believe this? This would have taken care of all of Asia, would have brought money in. We could have paid down our debt. We could have been unbelievable. We would have reduced. I gave you the biggest tax cuts in history. I would have given you a bigger tax cut, and we still will. Biden rejected it. They ended it in his first day in office, but we'll get it done quickly. It was already passed by Congress. They didn't do that. They just ended it. And the people of Alaska aren't happy, but that's a national thing. And when you get into those numbers, that's national. Would have been so great for our country, but we'll get it done very quickly. Under my plan, American workers will no longer be worried about losing your jobs to foreign nations. Foreign nations will be worried about losing their jobs to America, because we're going to take a lot of those companies back, a lot of new companies coming in. I want German car companies to be American car companies. I want them to build their cars in this country, not in Germany. I want Asian electronics companies to become Michigan electronics companies. And I want every manufacturer that has left us to be filled with regret, and you're going to become racing back after we do what we're doing. And here is the deal that I'll be offering every major company and manufacturer all over the earth, and they're going to all come in because we're the pot of gold. But we're not going to be the pot of gold forever if we don't be careful. We're not going to be. It's going to end, and we're not going to let it end. We will give you the lowest taxes, the lowest energy costs, because we have the energy, the lowest regulatory burden. I cut regulations more than any other president in the history of our country. And we'll give you free access to the biggest and best market on the planet. That's us. But only if you make your product here in America and hire American workers. If you don't make your product here, then you will have to pay a tax or tariff when you send your product into the United States. And we will take in hundreds of billions of dollars into our treasury and use that money to benefit the American citizens. So with China as an example, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars in taxes and tariffs. No other president took in 10 cents. In fact, they left it on because they can't get it off, because it's taken in so much money that the Biden people, I'm sure he doesn't know about it too much, but the Biden people said, we can't get rid of these tariffs. They're making too much money. But what they're also doing, maybe more importantly, their cars aren't coming in, and they're not destroying Detroit and South Carolina and North Carolina and Georgia and all the other places that are involved with making autos and parts. They're not coming in, and we made a fortune on it. And now all we're doing is take interest in it. We were ready to do that. And then we had a strange election result. We're not going to let that happen again. In my first term, I ended NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made, and replaced it with the USMCA, the best trade deal ever made. I withdrew from the job-killing Trans-Pacific Partnership. By the way, if that deal would have been approved, it was negotiated by Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him, Barack Hussein? Remember Rush Limbaugh? Rush, we love Rush. He used to go, Barack Hussein Obama. Mr. Wall, would you please stand up? Look at this guy. I got to get a suit like that. He's a successful guy. He's been to 293 rallies. This isn't a rally. This is a workers' meeting talking about bringing our jobs back into the country, which will go so fast. But he's been great. Have I done a good job? Yes? You better say yes. That's it. Thank you very much. Great guy. I renegotiated Barack Obama's Korea trade deal, which was a disaster, to restore the protective tariff on foreign pickup trucks. You know, the pickup trucks is where the car companies make most of their money, because we put on a tariff and we kept the tariff, and therefore they can't compete with us in our country. And we actually make pickup trucks in this country. If that would have gone, called the chicken wire tax, if that would have gone out, you would not have any trucks being made in this country. I stood up to China like never before, placing a 27.5% tariff on all Chinese automobiles, saving the U.S. auto industry from total obliteration. The cars don't come in because they can't compete. And for furniture makers in North Carolina and other places, and in particular right now, a place called Grand Rapids. You know, I have great memories of Grand Rapids because I came to Grand Rapids, I made a speech, I went home, and we ended up winning the election in 2016, right? But I put a 22% tariff on Chinese furniture. They were destroying North Carolina. They were destroying your furniture areas where you have a lot. Just absolutely destroying. And you make better furniture, by the way. I bought a lot of furniture. I'd go down to with hotels. As I built hotels, I'd buy furniture. I'd go do it myself. People don't believe it. Well, you really buying furniture? Yeah, I'm buying furniture, a lot of it. But I'd go, and it was like North Carolina was the furniture capital of the world. And then it was decimated by China because politicians allowed that to happen. It should have never been allowed to happen. We're going to bring all those companies back, and then we're putting a tariff on China. We're selling their furniture here so that these people can make their furniture. They're better than anyone else. I bought some of that Chinese furniture, and people would sit down in a chair, and the chair would break, and they'd end up on their ass, and then they'd sue me. I never had that with North Carolina. I never had it with Grand Rapids. No, it's true. This was not good. Ladies and gentlemen, the finest hotel in the world. They open, they end up getting a little damaged. They sit down to dinner at the beautiful dining table, and they end up getting damaged. Sir, you have a problem. The chairs break. That's a big problem. The centerpiece of my plan for a manufacturing renaissance will be a 15% made in America tax rate. So, pretty simple. So listen to how simple it is and how good it will be. It'll totally turn our country around, and we'll be a profit-making machine instead of a disaster like we are right now with $36 trillion in debt. So I brought the business tax rate from 39% or higher down to 21%. So I had it was 39, but it was actually 50 and over 50 if you include state and city taxes in some places, like hopefully New York is going to be able to reduce their taxes, but it was very high. So I brought it down from 39% down to 21%, all the way down to 21%. People said there's no way. I got it approved by Congress. Can you believe that? Now they're trying to, Democrats want to raise it, and they don't know. It's hard to say we want to, would you please vote for me to raise the tax? They're going to raise it up to 39 or 40% or maybe even 50%. You better not let these people get in office. They're going to destroy what we built. And we did more business and created more jobs than ever before in history with a 21% rate as opposed to a 39% rate. We took in more money, much more money at the lower rate that we did because we had jobs like never before. We had business like never before. Maybe you came here because of that. That might be the reason, come to think of it. Thank you. You told me that. 2017, yeah, you probably came because of the tax and the one-year depreciation. And you buy something and you can depreciate. Oh, you are a smart one. You're a smart one. Come to think of it, I would imagine that's why. And we're doing that again, the 1 year depreciate. You buy equipment and you're allowed to write it off first year. But what it does is create tremendous jobs. But now I'm doing a step further. I'm going to bring down the 21% to 15%, but only, and we will be the most competitive in the world. Don't forget, the world, like a gentleman like this can take his company and go to the Netherlands and go to a lot of other places. They all want your business. So if you start charging them too much, you're going to leave. They're going to say, that's a nice plant, bye-bye, because they're great business people, and they're going to go where they can get the deal. 15% will be almost as low as there is in the world. And yet, you got to remember, only if you manufacture your product right here in the USA do you get the 15% rate. So how cool is that? Michigan will be hotter than it ever was in its heyday. It'll be hotter than it ever was. You have to manufacture the product. Otherwise, you stay at 21%, which is okay too. But if you manufacture your product here, you drop all the way down to 15%, making it just about as compelling as there is in the world. Some are a little bit lower, but it's not this country. But it'll be among the most competitive in the world. Then I'm imposing tariffs on your competition from foreign countries, which would come in and take your businesses as soon as you built them. And we're going to put tariffs on, so now you won't be able to worry about having somebody come in and steal your plant and steal your business and close your place and lose your workers, and the workers are out of jobs. All your car factories are going to be coming back. You'll have more jobs than you've ever had in this state. Your car industry will be as big relatively as it was 60 years ago when you were like dominant. It's not dominant anymore. This is why people in countries are all after Trump. This is why. You know, the only one that has shots fired at them, that throbbing feeling, right? The only one are consequential presidents. When I do these things, I've got a lot of enemies out there. I've got a lot of enemies. You know, Germany liked, as an example, Barack Hussein Obama better than me, even though the people actually like me much better. Because you know what? He didn't charge him anything. He let him rip off our country. All presidents let our country be ripped off, and that's why we're in the mess that we're in. But me, no. But that's why I have, to put it mildly, in particular, Iran. You know, don't forget, with Iran, they were the sponsor of terror like nobody else was the sponsor of terror. And they were broke under the Trump administration because I put all sorts of sanctions on. I put all sorts of countries couldn't buy their oil or they couldn't do business in the United States. And all I wanted was one thing, because I wasn't looking to hurt them. I know many Iranian people, they're great people, very smart people, but I didn't want them to have a nuclear weapon. They can't have a nuclear weapon. Very simple ask. You can do whatever you want. You're going to be strong. You're going to get big and beautiful. Can't have a nuclear weapon and destroy the world. Can't have it. You can't have a nuclear weapon. The power of nuclear is so monumental. You just can't let that happen. And it wasn't going to happen. And there was no Hezbollah that was getting money. They had no money. Hamas had no money. The terror groups, 28 different terror groups, had no money. Nobody had any money. And during the 4 years of the Trump administration, we had no terror. We had no wars against other countries, expensive, never-ending, stupid wars like we had under other presidents. I won't say which one. Including Republicans, including Republican presidents, right? Goes in, blows out the Middle East, blows up the Middle East, comes back, you get nothing except death. You get death all over the place, death and hatred. Actually, they should like me more than anybody ever, but you had no wars under Trump except I defeated ISIS, which had already begun. I defeated ISIS, took 100% of the ISIS caliphate, 100%. I was told it was going to take 5 years. I did it in 4 weeks. We have the greatest military in the world, but you have to understand, you can't be so politically correct. But we did it in 4 weeks. ISIS was gone, 100% of the ISIS caliphate, and some of you have had the story, but I don't have enough time to tell you the story because I have to be someplace else making the same damn speech in a little while. I'll tell you the story the next time. I promise. I'll tell you the story, Mike, the next time. Will you come up here, Mr. Senator? Come up here real fast. Come on. I got to get you up. This is a man who's going to be one of the best senators, toughest senator, and great for you. And I hear your poll numbers are looking good. Will you say a quick hello so I don't have to go through this process in 15 minutes?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Well, thank you, Mr. President, for being here. How about that? And I can tell you, I'm looking at his teleprompter. He's not even close to watching that teleprompter. But I want to tell you this, Mr. President. One thing we know here in Michigan, with your plans to make sure that border is secure, with your plans to make sure the tax rate allows us to be competitive, with your plan to make energy independent here in America and bring down our gas prices and our cost of groceries, these folks right here were ahead of you. There is more common sense on that dais than there is in every committee room back in Washington, D.C. And I'll give you a little, we had some hot off the press information yesterday, Mr. President, 5,000 auto dealers. Your opponent, Kamala Harris, has been saying really wasn't an EV mandate. 5,000 auto dealers who are feeling the heat from this EV mandate said, nope, you're killing our business. You're killing the automobile industry. You must end the EV mandate. With you in Washington, we're going to get that done. Thanks for being here, Mr. President.
He's doing great. You got to vote for him. He's doing great. And Tudor, thank you very much. Great job. You did a great job this morning on television. I appreciate it very much. Nice things. Tudor Dixon, everybody. Thank you very much. But if Kamala Harris gets in, every single manufacturing job in the state is going to Mexico or going to China. And Mexico is a very big threat, by the way. First of all, the tax queen, that's Kamala, is demanding a 33% tax hike on all domestic production, way up. It's going to be much higher than that, by the way. Next, she wants the largest capital gains tax in the history of our country. And then she's promising a brand new wealth confiscation tax called unrealized capital gain. That means that if your company's doing great and your company's gotten really valuable, but you might be a little tight on cash and you have no intention of selling your company, you do an appraisal of what your company is worth and you have to pay a tax on it. So now you go to a bank and you borrow the money and your company goes out of business and that's the end of your company. Can you imagine that? Unrealized. In other words, you don't sell, your company got more valuable and you're putting more and more money into your company, and that's okay. There are a lot of people who have great wealth and they don't have cash. Those people are wiped out and it'll cause a depression like in 1929. Other than that, I think it's quite a good idea. Crazy, this person, crazy. You know, her father is a Marxist professor of economics. That's what she is. She's a Marxist. And we are not ready for a Marxist, and we will never be ready for a Marxist or a communist president, which is what she is. And, you know, we're leading in the polls. We're doing great. But, you know, when you see we're leading by 2 points, 3 points, we should be leading by 50 points. We should be, how the hell? No, really, you would really say, why would anybody vote for her? She's destroying our country. What she did outside of the nuclear disaster that these people will get us into, World War III, what she did on the border with these millions of murderers and criminals coming into our country, what she did on the border is the worst thing I think I've ever heard. I've never heard of anything like it. Never made sense. You're trying to figure out, you know, in business, you always like to figure out your opponent. What does he want? What are they doing? What does she want? what are they doing? And you want to figure it out. Here, you can't figure it out. Like, why do they want open borders? Why do they want men playing in women's sports? Why does Kamala want to give transgender operations to convicted illegal migrants coming in and staying in detention cells? She said, we will give them sex change operations. Now, somebody would look at me and say, that's crazy. I'm sure that that's not true. No, it's 100% true. She wants to give them, they're in a detention cell, and a man wants to transition into womanhood, and she is willing to do that and give very expensive operations, by the way, hundreds of thousands of dollars. But if you want that, she will give you a transgender operation. Are we crazy? Are we crazy? Now, how about, and also, all of these people, she wants to defund the police. You know, she is one of the originals for defund the police. I say anybody that wants to defund the police is not qualified and shouldn't be allowed to even run for president of the United States. It's crazy. Comrade Kamala Harris also voted for a bill to impose a 100% ban on gas-powered cars and trucks, killing an estimated 200,000 U.S. auto jobs, including 40,000 auto jobs in Michigan, a death sentence for the Michigan economy. On day one, I will terminate Kamala's electric vehicle mandate, have to terminate it. And remember, the electric car has a great place, but not for everybody. Okay, not for everybody. No state in America will be permitted to ban gasoline engines. You want gasoline, nice, clean gasoline. We have the best, we have the most. You know, we want to use something that China has that we don't. It's crazy, right? They have certain minerals, they have control of what you need for the batteries, and we really don't, but we will have. A lot of what we have is stopped because of the environment. We have the minerals, but we don't have the environmental impact statements, but we'll make sure that that's going to go very quickly. We'll be able to do things that you never even thought. The only good thing about what happened with this 4-year disaster is that the people will understand when we fix our country. They'll be much more understanding than they would have been if we just went straight ahead and did it. Because this country has never been laughed at like a bunch of dopes. It's never been laughed at like it is right now. If Kamala wins, she will take your cars, take your money, take your guns. She wants to confiscate all guns. You know that. She just changed. That's one of the 15 policies that she changed. You know, she was totally in favor of taking everybody's, confiscating your gun. She changed that when she looked at some polls. The polls weren't looking too good. But they always revert back. Remember, she wants to take your economic opportunity, and she will absolutely kill the American dream for your children. You know, this country used to be about the American dream. They don't talk about that. They talked about it 4 years ago like never before, and they'll talk about it after November 5th. They're going to talk about the American dream. If I win, we will bring back the American dream, bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. So we're pleased to be joined with a few people. You just met Mike Rogers, and I wanted to have him up here separately because I will tell you, this guy is going to be a great senator. I picked him, even though he wasn't always particularly nice to me. He was paid a lot of money to say bad things about me, and that's okay. I fully understand it. But he's been great, and he's got great gravitas. And I think he might even be leading in the poll by a little bit. He's tough as hell, and he's good, and he's got the whole deal going. And I had a lot of choices. I had choices of people that were lovely to me, so nice, but I wanted to pick somebody that could be, number one, a great senator, number two, could win. And I just want to thank you. You've been really working hard, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate Tudor Dixon very much also, job you've done. And I think we have somebody here that I really have known for a long time and liked, and he's got a lot of good ideas. He's got a lot of good ideas, especially when it comes to women's health and health generally and the environment. I'm going to watch him a little bit on the environment, though, if you don't mind. Health, I don't think I'm going to watch him much at all because he's really good. So is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. here? Where is he? Where is he? He's here someplace. I know he's here someplace. RFK Jr. And he's a big part of what we're doing. And he does have great ideas. And getting a Kennedy to endorse a Trump Republican, that was a big deal, right? Good deal. He's a good man. He's a good man, and he's doing a real job, and he really does have some amazing views, to my way of, especially on health of people. Representatives John Molinar, where's John? He's around here. So, hi, John. Good job you're doing. Very good. Simple job in Congress, isn't it, John? Great job. Bill Heisinger. Bill Heisinger. Bill, thank you, Bill. Good job. Looking good. Thank you, Bill. Great job. Jack Bergman. Jack, thank you, Jack. You got warriors. You got warriors here. Tim Wahlberg. Tim, thank you. Those people are so tremendous, the way they fight in Congress for you. Some don't. I mean, I will tell you, I could name some that won't, but I get myself into a lot of trouble. I'd name some Republicans that don't, but that group of people, they're warriors, so you're lucky to have them, and we're lucky to have you on my side, and thank you all very much. I've endorsed all of them, but they're great. Thank you very much, fellas. Real warriors. Michigan Senate Republican leader, Eric Nesbitt. Eric? Thank you, Eric. Good job. How are we doing? I hear good. Good. He said we're winning. That's good. We got to win. By the way, we win Michigan, we win the whole thing. Like in 2016. Got to vote. Also, House Republican leader Matt Hall. Matt. Thank you, Matt. Good. Good job. Thank you very much. Really good job. So I just want to thank them, but I want to thank everybody for being here today. It's been great. We have early absentee mail-in voting in your state. Starts this week. And if you have your ballot, return it as soon as possible. And if not, get a ballot. Go out and get a ballot. Get as many Trump supporters as you can. You have a lot of people that sit back on the side. They agree with us. They agree with everything. What's not to agree? We want to stop people from killing everybody, you know? We have pretty basic policies, right? Low taxes, good education, strong border, all these different things, common sense things. We don't want to have, you know, in the Olympics, I don't know if you saw that. In the Olympics, I didn't even realize that they have women now, boxers, right? They're boxing for women. And a young, beautiful woman from Italy was boxing a person that transitioned. I've got the language perfect because if I say it a little bit incorrectly, it could mean the end of my campaign. We have to be extremely careful. Like if you dare to say, gee, that's a beautiful woman, you say it very nicely. That's the end of your campaign. You're out of politics. You have to be very careful. So I never see beauty anymore. I never see beauty. But you have this young woman from Italy, and she's fighting, and she's a champion fighter against women. And she's fighting in the first match of the Olympics. And she happens to get unlucky enough to meet somebody who transitioned from male to female and got into the Olympics. Two people did. Two people were able to get in. By the way, I don't want to upset the story, but they each won a gold medal, okay? Different weight classes. Two people transitioned from male to woman. Each one won the gold medal. But this young Italian girl, she's in there. She's going to show her mom how good she is. She's going to say, I don't care if he transitioned, Mom. I'm so tough. I can take her. I can take her. And she gets up and she puts up her fist. And he goes, for those that don't know too much about boxing, but I love it. I love UFC. I love Dana White. Has Dana White done a great job? Dana White, what a job. But she puts up her, and you know, a left is sort of to keep them away. She gets hit with a left, just a little dumb. Whoa. She looks around. Holy much, I just got hit by a horse. Goes back to her corner. Said, I've never seen this before. I've watched a lot of this stuff. And goes back to her corner and they say, go out there, go out there. You can do it. Go out there. Okay, I'll go out. It's like, what does Mike Tyson say? Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face, right? This is what happened to this young, beautiful lady. Beautiful lady. So she goes out and she gets ready to go again. Boom, he hits her again. And she quits. She said, I can't get it. I've never been hit that hard. This was just like a little defensive punch. He ends up going on to win the gold medal. And another transitioned person won the gold medal. There were two of them and they both won gold medals. In weightlifting, you got to see this. And for many, many years, they had a certain weight that stayed the same, and they'd put 1/8 of an ounce on one side, 1/8 of an ounce on the barbells, right, Mike? And they couldn't quite do it. The best female weightlifters. A guy comes along. Have you lifted before? They ask him or her. And he goes, not much, but a little bit. And he goes up to that barbell. Boom. Bing, 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 bing. And swimming, the same thing. The young lady, you saw this. She looks left and she sees all these beautiful athletes that she's swum against for 15 years. Beautiful, beautiful swimmers. She looks to the right, she sees the same thing, but next to her is a giant. A giant. He's got the reach of Wilt Chamberlain. Does anybody know? Wilt is still said to have the longest reach in history. He could dunk a ball without even leaving he'd dunk a ball like this. He wouldn't even jump. But she looks at this guy's giant. And she never saw this. And they say, on your mark, get set, go. And she jumps, he jumps, everybody jumps. And as you know, she was badly injured. You know what happened to her, right? I told the story before. Windburn. He went by her so fast that she was horribly hurt. The windburn was horrible. No men playing women's sports. Very, very degrading to women. Right? You agree, Mike? So just to finish up, starting on day one, we will end inflation and make America affordable again. We will have no tax on tips. No tax on tips. And boy, this is good for you because I know exactly where you make your money. I used to have to pay that damn overtime. It would cost a fortune. No tax on overtime. And no tax on Social Security for seniors. Because you've been devastated. You've been devastated by inflation, seniors. For the seniors, no tax on Social Security benefits. So that's it. And by the way, I want to explain something. The people that you see leaving, because nobody ever leaves. And when they do, I finish up quick, believe me. But I couldn't take pictures at the beginning. So I take them at the end sometimes. If I'm late, the plane gets late, you get delayed, lots of things happen. There's a little hurricane going on in Florida, as you know. And so what they do is they say, oh, please come up now at the end of my speech. I said, don't do that. Because it looks like they're leaving, like your husband who owns this place. He's not leaving. He likes Trump very much. He made a lot of money because of Trump, right? Right? But these stupid people that are with me sometimes, they say, come on back. back, 30 people, they get up and they go back, and they're all lined up in the back waiting for me to take a picture because I couldn't do it before, because I didn't want to keep you waiting because you're much more important than the wealthy people back there. You're much more important to me than those people. He said, don't do that anymore, but they don't learn their lesson. But we are going to be late for something, but who cares? And while working Americans catch up, we're going to put a temporary cap on credit card interest rates at 10%. Some people are paying 24%. You can't do it. So we're going to have a temporary cap on credit card, 10%. I will settle the war in Ukraine. I met with President Zelensky today. Had a good meeting. We had a great news conference afterwards. She met with him, I guess, yesterday. She didn't have a news conference because she can't do a news conference. She can't answer any questions. She's never going to make a settlement, believe me. And I will end the chaos in the Middle East, and I will prevent World War III, something I can do that nobody else is going to be able to do. I know them all. We will rebuild our cities, including Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. We will keep the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. And right now, with these really stupid people we have running our government, it is under tremendous threat from losing its status as the world's reserve currency. If that happens, that's like losing a war. In many ways, it's worse. This is how we will end the era of inflation, mayhem, misery under Kamala and Crooked Joe, and unleash safety, prosperity, and peace for Americans of every race, religion, color, and creed. We're going to do it, and we're going to do it fast. You're going to have businesses flowing back to Michigan. Together, we will deliver low taxes, low regulations, low energy costs, low interest rates, and low inflation so that everyone can afford the basics. It's called a car, groceries, and a home. Right now, you can't buy groceries. You can't buy anything. They're up so much, 50, 60, 70, 80%. We will stop the invasion, end migrant crime, support our police, strengthen our military. And I already rebuilt the military. They gave about $85 billion to Afghanistan, right? How about that one? In addition to losing 13 beautiful soldiers whose families I got to know and love and respect. And we left a lot of people behind. And you know, very importantly, we gave up a big Air Force base that cost us billions of dollars, named Battleground, billions of dollars, 1 hour away, forget Afghanistan, 1 hour away from where China builds its nuclear weapons. And we gave that up. These stupid people gave that up. You know who's occupying it now? China is occupying that base. Can you believe it? We're going to build a missile defense shield, much of it built in Michigan. We're going to keep critical race theory and transgender insanity out of our schools. And no men in women's sports again. We will defend the Second Amendment, restore free speech, and we will secure our elections. We are going to make our elections safe and secure. Everyone will prosper. Every family will thrive, and every day will be filled with opportunity and hope. But for that to happen, we must defeat Comrade Kamala Harris. And we must stop her country-destroying liberal agenda once and for all. She's beyond liberal, by the way. Early absentee voting is underway, so go vote right now. You can do it right now. We want a landslide that is too big to rig, right? Too big to rig. And on November 5th, we will save our country. We will save our economy. It will go down as the most important day, November 5th, in the history of our country. We will rescue our middle class. We will reclaim our sovereignty and restore our borders. We will always put America first. We have to put America first. We will take back our country, and together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy with Bobby again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. We will make America free again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much, Michigan. God bless you. God bless you. Go out and vote. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Go out and vote.
All right, y'all heard the man. Go out and vote. All right, y'all. Trump said, should he be elected 47th president, he is bringing manufacturing back to America, and you will have a 15% max tax rate if you are producing your goods here in America. Again, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security. So y'all make sure y'all vote. Make sure you vote. Make sure you vote. He'll be back on. He has another appearance supposed to be scheduled for 6. I'm sure it will be starting later than that, but our vice president, as he did mention in this speech, is actually at the border. That is scheduled to begin 4:30 Pacific time. I'm sorry, 4:45 Pacific time and 7:45 Eastern Standard Time. We will be showing that. So if you want to hear from the vice president, definitely make sure you have your notifications on so you don't miss that. So with that, guys, I am going to leave you for, as we would say here in the South, for a spell. Again, make sure your notifications are on. I do want to thank Eric, Messi, Michon, and Take Heed to the Message for your support. I appreciate you guys. Love you to pieces. And I will see everyone at 7:45 so we can see exactly what is going on at the border. You guys take care, and I will see y'all later. Bye.